Step-by-step SEO training course for 2024. How to SEO heading tags. First, let me show you how you can actually insert heading tags. Content management systems such as WordPress allow you to format text to include headings. For Shopify, when you're creating content, the formatting option is under A. As we can see, we've got heading tags. In terms of web page document and in terms of search engine optimization, think of the design structure of your website. Perhaps you have sidebar, perhaps you have footer, and almost all web pages have the main section area. So therefore, first, think of different parts of your landing page, and if it has content, then you want to label them. In a sense, in this example, that's heading 1. So that's the main heading, which is heading 1. And here, this entire document is about this here, right? So this entire document, heading 1, is this here. Now, this is a typical scenario. Then, use logical hierarchy. What that means is, you don't want to have, let's say, heading 6 in the, before heading 1 and so on. Okay, it has to be meaningful semantically. Then you need to be consistent. Also, understand how Google evaluates web documents. As I've touched base in the previous video sessions, Google looks at the entire document and analyzes it. It can analyze what is shown to people and the page experience and so on. That means different HTML elements are evaluated a little bit different compared to other parts of HTML. Therefore, heading tags outweigh the text in terms of ranking. And heading 1, in terms of headings, outweigh heading 2 and so on. Also, in 2024, latest changes Google is making, such as creating content for people, as well as the mobile first index, then knowing these changes, we need to say, okay, web page should work well across all devices, whether someone visits the landing page using a laptop, desktop, tablet, or mobile device. And if I press on F12 on my keyboard, I can emulate different devices. Let's select iPad Air as an example. So that's the first eyeful. That means when someone lands, before taking any action on the page and scrolling up, down, left, right, this is what they see. On a desktop, this is what they see before they interact with the page. Therefore, heading 1 of your web document becomes the most important to focus on. But in terms of search engine optimization, you simply describe what this content is about, whether you're a local business or an e-commerce site. Also, let's look at the source code here. And here we've got H1, that's the heading. We can use item prop headline. Also, just because headings play a different role in terms of ranking doesn't mean you should, have, let's say, 10 different headings on a 600-word article, for example, or a product page. Okay, only when it's appropriate to do so. And each heading then describes what's beneath it. Here, I said use a logical hierarchy. That means the next chunk is about this. Maintain consistency. That means this chunk talks about this. This chunk talks about this. But all of them talk about this. Make sense? So use headings to label sectioning content in HTML. So the content area is one section. Depending on your website structure, perhaps sidebar or the footer section of your landing page, that's a different section. Footer is a different section, so you can use headings there too. Sidebar is a different section, so you can use headings if there's content on the sidebar accordingly. Also, does that mean you can only use one heading per document? No. It depends on the type of content that you create. You can, let's imagine what we're seeing here. We use 6 headings, starting heading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then let's imagine our content allowed us to include different headings. In this scenario, if I use another heading, then this content obviously will be not related to this per se, although it can be. Okay, what I'm trying to tell you is there is no golden rule for using heading 1 as in how many times. It depends on the content. But to simplify your learning, let me give you this scenario. Let's imagine the web page has one heading that you have included some important keywords in a natural manner because it's logical to do so. Then let's imagine you had a sidebar. That's a different section. And if that sidebar section was about your heading, then you can use heading 2, because this heading 2 then works with the main heading 1. But let's imagine a scenario whereby the sidebar content had different type of content per se. If that's the case, I can use heading 1 in the sidebar as well. It's only when we understand semantics and HTML and how Google evaluates landing pages, ensuring that we create content for people, then heading tags allows us to label certain parts of our landing pages. So heading tags should be optimized for the user experience of your website visitors according to the content that they will consume. Because if they don't read the content, then that visitor is going to go back to Google and search again. So your job is to simplify your web pages and the content that you're presenting to your website visitors. And you can use headings to label certain chunks of content as well as certain parts of a web document, such as sidebar and footer and so on. I thank you for learning with RankYa, and I'll talk with you in the next video session.